Okay, uh, good evening, Kelly. Thanks for joining in. So today we're going to be talking about. I don't know if you can hear me, Kelly. If you can hear me, I would like a reply. Reply would be nice. Okay, I'm guessing you can hear me because I can see like my icon pop when I'm talking. So I'm guessing you can hear me. So today, good evening, everybody. My name is Okoso Victor, as I've said before, and today we're going to be diving into the words of data analytics. I am a freelancer, I'm a data analyst, and I'm going to be teaching us Power BI today. So, in previous classes, we learned about Power Query. We've learned about how to clean and transform data using Power Query. We also learned about um, using visualization, how to choose a visualization, the best kind of visualization to be used. And today we're going to yesterday we also did a little bit of data modeling, but we didn't do so much. We just learned the theory part. We didn't really have some time to go to the practical parts where we use Power BI. But today we're going to open Power BI and go into data modeling. So quickly, I'm going to import the sheets from Excel. After the class, I'm going to release the sheets. These data sets, not the sheet per se. I'm going to release the data sets so you can use it to practice on your own um, time whenever you're free. Power BI class. Data modeling. Let's open it. So Power BI sometimes take a little bit of time to load. Hey Joyce, Choma, good evening. Welcome. If you can hear me, please unmute and talk. Joyce, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, sir.
Okay, no problem. I just want to be sure that I am being able I'm audible. So you remember like yesterday we talked about let me just because you just came in, let me just give you a little recap. Yesterday we started data modeling, if you remember, and we went a little bit into data modeling. Today we're going to finish up data modeling and that's data DAX functions. DAX is a short for data analysis expressions. That's the short for data analysis expression. But we'll get there. Let's not run faster than our shadows. So I'm trying to open this data set that I'm going to be giving to the class after this class. And I want to apologize very sincerely for not being able to release the video of yesterday. I don't know why it's taking a whole lot of time to download from Telegram for something that is so small. It's taking like a day or something. So, but immediately after this class, I will do well to upload some of them, the two videos, so that at least we can have access to the videos to practice and the data set also now that we use. So I have opened this data modeling set, and this is the next page it's giving me. So and I'm going to be checking all these boxes. I'm going to be checking all these boxes: inventory, products, sales, and stock. So I don't need to transform data here because I'm not trying to teach you how to clean data. I only need to load the data. So I'm not transforming data here. So I just go straight up to load the data. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to load. It takes a little bit of time to load, but it's loading. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading. It's creating connections, model. And as I said before, the larger the data set, the longer it takes to load. That's why SQL sometimes is very important to learn how to use SQL. By God's grace, after this class, we shall be looking on how to learn SQL as a class. Like we're going to do an onboarding for a SQL class so that it's not just Power BI we're going to be learning. So because for SQL now, it shouldn't take this much time because you are doing it online. You can handle a queries of about a billion data sets. That's how powerful SQL is. But if Power BI, if the distance is too much, it can take like a whole day to be loading. And it will make your computer slow if your data set is too much. So as much as possible, you need to learn SQL. But this class is for Power BI, but we're going to learn SQL in subsequent classes. So yes, our data has loaded, and you can see that inventory, products, sales, store have come up. Inventory, product, sales, and store has come up. In our yesterday's class, let me just open my this thing. Let me just read through. Let me just give a recap. Remember, we learned about fact table and dimensions table. Fact table and dimensions table. And I didn't spend so much time dwelling on them because of time constraints yesterday. But let me talk a little bit on them before we go into the use of fact table and dimension table. So fact table I used in Power BI. So fact table, let me just explain. Like fact table gives like a description of what happened, the description of events. Fact table give a description of events, while dimension table does not give a description of events. Let me just put it that way. Because when we go to Power BI, I'll explain to you better so you understand. Dimension table just tells you, oh, there is that the store now. It just tells you there is what are in the store. Maybe a supermarket. There's water in the supermarket. They are selling this Coke. There is drinks. There's everything. There are a big inventory in the supermarket. But fact table tells you what happened to those drinks. Oh, on Sunday the 12th of this on Sunday the 3rd of December 2023, 2022, somebody came to purchase 1 unit of Coke
Please,
at the rate of
hello, sir. I can't hear you again.
yes.
No.
You cannot hear me. Can you hear me now? Sorry, let me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Is it very low? Is it low?
No, it's okay for me. I don't know for the rest.
Okay. Okay. Joyce, Choma, can you hear me now? Hello, Choma. Joyce, can you hear me? Oh, okay. I don't know why that she's not hearing me. Joyce, can you hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just signify or something. Mm, okay. Let me see if I can increase it. Can you hear me now? Like it's faint. Is it better now?
I can hear you.
Okay. But it's not faint. Nah, it's not faint.
It's no, it's okay.
Okay.
I can
So
hear you
I
now,
think
sir.
Joyce, you can hear me now.
I can hear you now, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I think that should. I'm sorry about the hiccup. So yes, back to what I was talking about. I was talking about the fact that I was talking about fact table and dimension table. So I said that in a supermarket, for instance, that has an inventory of, let's say they sell water, they sell Coke, they sell Fanta, they sell Sprite, and everything. Dimension table just tells you what they sell. A dimension table just tells you what they sell. It does not explicitly tell you what happened to what they sell. That's what the dimension table tells you. But a fact table, it tells you something like on Sunday, the 3rd of December 2022, we sold 1 unit of a 1 unit of Coke at the rate of 250 naira. That's what a fact table tells you. That's the difference between a fact table and a dimension table. So fact table can contain several repeated value because you can sell that since like for Coke now, you can sell Coke 5 times a day in a supermarket and a fact table record that 5 times a day. But for dimension table, you can only have one type of Coke. Let's say you have diet Coke. It's only one type of diet Coke that will be on that table. Let's say you have normal Coke. It's only one type of normal Coke that will be on that table. So a dimension table only contains unique values. Unique value in the sense that it's just one. It doesn't have repeated values. I don't know if this explains. This is more explanatory. Like the difference between fact table and dimension table. I don't know if it's explanatory. If since you are like the benefit of being in class like a class like this is that you get to ask questions that other people may not necessarily can ask. Like other people may not be necessarily able to ask if they're watching the video. So you in this
Hi,
class, if
please. Sorry, I just joined. I want
yeah,
to ask a question. Are we?
sure,
Is
sure,
it the
sure.
modeling we are tackling?
Yes, we're working about data modeling.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, yes. I yesterday I'm supposed to play the video
Sir,
for yesterday,
please.
but I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm listening to you, Chema.
I'm saying if you can give a little bit explanation to that data, to that fact and dimension table, please. I think I missed
Okay,
out in yeah.
okay, sure. So coming back to fact and dimension table. So a fact table contains event data values such as sales, prices, transaction dates, and time. It can contain several repeated values, while a dimension table contains detailed description about the fact table, such as location, order type. It can also only contain unique values. For example, a supermarket. A supermarket obviously has inventory. For a supermarket, for example, has inventory of Coke, Star, Sprite, Fanta. The inventory is called the dimension table because it did not tell us what happened to that Coke. Dimension table does not tell you what happened, it just tells you that, oh, there is this there, there is that there is something there, but it does not tell you what happened to that, what happened to whatever is that, or like the Coke, for example. But for a fact table, for instance, it tells you like, oh, on the 3rd of December 2022, we sold 1 unit of Coke at a unit price of 250. And why fact table has repeated values that, for instance, I can come to a store and buy Coke 5 times, 5 different times, and it's telling me that those values are still repeating. Those values are still repeating, and it's called that's why it has several repeated values. But for a dimension table, Coke is only one, like in an inventory. Coke is only one. So I cannot have more than one Coke in a dimension table. So even though it's diet Coke, there are different kinds of Coke. So that's why it has only unique values. It does not have repeated values. So Choma, is this clearer now? Is it clearer now? Do you understand it better? Choma, can you hear me? You understand the difference between fact table and dimension table? Choma,
Please. So does it mean that if it appears more than once, it won't appear on the dimension table?
no, on dimension, like, okay, on
Please
dimension,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. You say that if it appears more than once, it will appear on the dimension table. That's what your question, right? You said if it appears more
Hi,
than
please
once,
can you
it
hear
will
me?
appear. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Sorry, can you hear me? I think you can't hear me.
Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying that if it appears more than once, it's not meant to be. It's like it's most likely not going to be on a dimension table. Do you get me? Dimension table contains unique values. That means like one value. It's not repeated. But for a fact table can contain repeated values. I don't know if that's clearer. And do you understand now? Can we move forward? Mm, okay. I think Nana was like wasn't really hearing what you were saying, so she's trying to join back in. So Joyce, Choma, are you with us or are you against us?
Yes,
Like I want
100%.
okay, thank you very much. So do you understand now fact table and dimension table?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I have.
Okay, sure. So I want to be moving straight up to Power BI. I want to be moving straight to Power BI. So earlier, earlier in the class, we imported or we loaded our data sets we're going to be using for this class. Earlier, we loaded the data sets we're going to be using for this class. It contains inventory, products, sales, and store. Inventory, products, sales, and store. So now, let's have a feel of our data. Let's see our data set. So now, as you can see now, you can see that this is a. So can you guess which kind of table this is? Whether it's a fact or a dimension table. From what we explained,
Small.
is it a fact or a dimension table? This inventory table, is it a fact or a dimension table?
In this screen, no, seriously, it's just your voice that I'm trying to.
You're not seeing the screen.
Product. What's this?
Okay,
Products.
let me try to zoom in. This is store ID, product ID, and stock in hand. Stock on hand. The name of the table is inventory. So is this a dimension table or a fact table? Okay, I don't think you can hear me. Nana, are you back with us, right? Uh, are you
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
okay? You can hear me. So can you guess? Like, can you guess what kind of if this table is a dimension table or a fact table?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a dimension table, as we explained. This is a dimension table because it contains inventory and it's not repeated per se. Okay.
I was
So
answering you, sir. Now. Okay, maybe you did not hear me. Sorry.
I wasn't hearing you, Choma. Sorry.
I
Sorry,
didn't
I'm
even know.
hearing you
I
now.
clicked on my mic, but I didn't know that the thing did not even. Did
Okay, I
not.
think that's what happened.
Mm.
Because I wasn't hearing anything. Okay, so
Is
guess
it?
this one now. Is this a dimension table or a fact table? Is it Choma? If you are here with us, is it a dimension table or a fact table?
Showing on the screen, sir.
You can't see what
It's
I'm doing
blank
right now.
on my end.
It's blank.
On my end.
Okay. Sure, no problem. So since I don't Nana, can you guess what kind of table this is?
So what's the problem with mine now?
Can you just leave the class then join back in? Leave the class then join back in. I'm sure maybe it fixes that. So Nana, can you hear me? Yo, Ikike, President, good evening, boss.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening, Ikike. So let's continue. Let's keep the flow. So yes, we're talking about data modeling. Ikike, you are just joining in. Welcome. We're talking about data modeling, and we just imported our data sets. So this is a dimension table because it just contains products like information. It does not contain things like it does not contain facts or events that happened. Then the next thing we're going to be talking about is sales, the next table. Sales is a fact table. Why is sales a fact table? Sales contains information about like events that happen on a date. Sales contain information about events that happen on a date. Like now, I can tell you that sales ID 277 on Sunday, the 1st of January 2017. Store ID, store ID 31 and had a product on the ID of 8. So it showed that there was a sale here and they sold 1 unit here. He told you that on Sunday, 1st of January, and you can see it's repeated. You can see it's repeated. So, like this store now, Sunday sold like 5 items with different ID, and you can see how this is and why this is a fact table, because it's not unique. It contains repeated values a lot. If I'm as I'm scrolling down, you can see that it contains repeated values. So the next table I'm going to be looking at is our store table. Our store table. This is another dimension table. This is another dimension table because it contains unique values, and it's just giving us, it does not giving us like details information. It's just telling us, oh, there's a store in Gudajara, there's a store in Monterrey, there's another store, this is another store, this is one store, this is store 2, and this one is in a residential area, this is a commercial area, and this was opened on the 18th of January, and this was opened on 12th of December. So it is not really giving us an event that happened in that store. It's just telling us that, oh, there's a store there, and the store was opened on this date. So quickly going to Power BI, we're going to be looking at our data model. We're going to be looking at our data model. Power BI automatically detects relationship. Power BI automatically detects relationship. As you can see now, you can see that all of them. Let me shift it so we can all see everything at once. This should come here. Okay. So you can see that it has automatically detected that there are relationship existing between all of them. And this, like now, this, if I come and touch this like line now, you can see that what the relationship between inventory and stores is store ID. You can see that it's store ID. Store ID is highlighted as I come and hover on this relationship. So I come and hover here too. You can see store ID. You can see that it's what is relating to of them now is product ID. You come here, you can see product ID is what is really like creating a relationship between two of them. Also, you can see now this one here and this asterisk that is here is showing that there's a one-to-many relationship between two of them. This one here and this asterisk here is showing that there's a one-to-many relationship between two of them. This one to asterisk is showing that it's a one-to-many relationship. So you can see all around there's always a one and there's always an asterisk. If it's a one-to-one relationship, it will be one-to-one. If it's there are 4 types of relationship: one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many. That's, I think, 4 types of relationship. So now, if it was many-to-many type of relationship, there will be an asterisk here. There will also be an asterisk here. There will be an asterisk here. There will also be an asterisk here. So this is like a basic data model like function. So for example, maybe Power BI did not detect a certain relationship and I want to view the kind of relationship. I come and hover on this line, I right click, then I see properties. I come to properties. So now it's telling me that there is the relationship between inventory and products. This is a relationship between inventory and products. I can see the cardinality is many to one. As I told you that there are 4: many to one, one to many, one to many, one to one, one to many, many to many. So it's telling us that the relationship between product inventory and product is the one that's grayed out now is product ID. So it's telling us that the relationship between product ID, inventory and products is product ID. That's the data key that they have in common. Product ID is the data key that they have in common. So I click on OK. So for example, data Power BI did not automatically detect a relationship, and I want to detect manually. I come and delete this relationship now. First of all, let's see. I delete all this. Let's say Power BI did not automatically detect a relationship. I can manually like detect the relationship by carrying this product ID and coming to put it here. I can see now it has created a relationship between these two product ID. Has created a relationship with these two product ID. So yes, data modeling basically is how tables create relationship between each other. All these nitty-gritties are like English, but it's how Power BI, just like VLOOKUP in Excel, how you can reference another table when you're using a table in Excel. That's like what is that's like Power BI, and that's Power BI data modeling. That's It's more like VLOOKUP in Excel. So quickly, we shall be moving to DAX functions. That was all we have on data modeling. We shall be moving to DAX functions. I will not be taking questions for now. I want us to save our questions to the end of the class because I am trying to see if it's possible to still finish by 7 p.m. If it's possible to still finish by 7 p.m. So I'm going to leave this now. I'm going to minimize and I'm going to go to our DAX functions. That's Power BI Day 3. Power BI Bootcamp Day 3. So, good evening, everybody. Today we are going to continue with DAX functions. I want to continue with DAX functions. What are DAX functions? DAX functions basically are called data analysis expressions. Data analysis expressions. DAX functions are like in Excel where you have a formula bar. Yes, that's what DAX functions are. That's like the kind of the like the similarity between Excel and Power BI on DAX functions. That's where the formula bar is. And you know that there are many functions in Excel where you can do a lot of things. Once you know a function, count if, there is connecate, there's concat, there is sum, there's minus, and there are a lot of things in Excel. So Power BI also have similar things. Power BI also have similar things. So that is a combination of functions and operators used to build formulas, create calculated tables, columns, and measures. Used to build formulas, create calculated tables, columns, and measures. So if you remember in Excel, where you are doing like maybe a sum function, and you don't use sum, or you want to do a multiplication function, and you don't use multiplication like the multiplication sign, then you are using asterisk. Asterisk is called an operator. Asterisk is called an operator. While if you are using sum, SUM, if you are using sum is called a function. Asterisk, minus, plus, equals to, they are called operators. Asterisk, plus, minus, division equals to, they are called operators. While sum if, count if, concate, concat, and whatever it is, they are called functions. That's the difference between functions and operators. That's the difference between functions and operators. They are used to build formulas, created calculated table, columns, and measures. So measures are summarization of a data or an aggregate calculation of data. When we get to Power BI, we will understand this better. Calculated columns are new columns of data which are not part of the source. When we get to Power BI, we understand this data. So okay, let me explain a little bit of calculated columns and measures. In a calculated column, a new column is created. In a calculated column, a new column is created where you can see what the expression Power BI just did, or be the calculation Power BI just did. But in a measure, there's no new, it's created solely in Power BI's memory. You can actually see it as a data source. But if you are going back to your Power BI reports, you can actually put it and you see maybe the sum or the average or something. But if you are using it you cannot see it in your data set or your data sheet. They both have different functions they serve. They have different functions they serve. But when we get to Power BI, we understand this better. So differences between calculated columns and measures. Differences between calculated columns and measures. Number one, calculated columns create a value for each row in a table. Calculated columns create a value for each row in a table. Then measures are calculated on demand. Yes, measures are calculated on demand. As you want to use them, you calculate them, you create them. Then in calculated columns, calculations are done immediately and data is stored in memory. In calculated columns, calculations are done immediately and data is stored in memory. It just solely depends on your need at that point. If you don't want to take too much space, avoid calculated columns. Calculated columns can make your work very bulky and takes a longer time to load. But you can actually see the data set that you just did. It can make your data very bulky and takes a longer time to load. So as much as possible, try to see what works, what you want to use the data for. If it's something that you can do without bringing out the data set, then avoid the calculated column. But if it's not, just avoid use measures. Use measures. So since you need to know functions, evaluation content, we'll get to that now. So off to Power BI, off to Power BI. So we're still going to be using off to Power BI. Then I'm going to create a new. I'm going to, when I'm done with this class today, by God's grace, I'm going to release all the videos, all the data sets I've been working on, the book I promised I was going to send. I'm going to release everything by God's grace this evening, by God's grace. So I'm going to import data from Excel. Import data from Excel. So okay, yes. Import data from Excel. Copy. Okay, yes, I'm going to be using this. Or you know what I'm going to use another. There's something I want to show you. So I'm not going to use the data set. I'm going to use our first data set, the one we use for data cleaning. We're still going to use that first data set that we use for data cleaning. But I will still develop this data set later on. So you can have a feel. You come to your data view. Come to your data view. You can have a feel of your data. You can see how it is. So first thing I want to do is that I want to create a calculated column. I want to show you how to create a calculated column and how calculated column works. So for example, this is my first name and last name. I want them to come back together. I want to have a column that brings them back together. I don't want them to be separate anymore. Let's say what I'm going to be working on needs a first name and last name that are together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here, my HR data set. I'm going to right click. I'm going to right click, and when I right click, I am going to choose new column. So yes, column loads. So I want the name of the column to change. So I'm going to choose delete that column and put full name. Then I'm going to come here. I'm going to the functions. As I'm saying, you have to actually go and learn out all these functions. The function I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using ConnerKit. ConnerKit to bring them together. So I'm going to CON. It's going to automatically give me suggestions on what it thinks I'm trying to do. So I'm going to click on this. Then I'm going to come. I'm trying to get from my HR data name 1. Name 1. Because that's the name it knows it as. Then I want there to be a space between the my first name and my last name. So I'm going to put and then I'm going to put two columns with this. Then I'm going to put comma. Then I'm going to put name 2. Then I'm going to close it with a close parenthesis sign. So I'm going to HR data, and then it's going to give me this expression is trying to show me that I want a space between both of them. Then this HR data name 2 is showing me it's telling me, I'm trying to tell Power BI that I want these two to come together. And I'm going to click enter. As you can see now, it has created a column that has the first name and the last name together with a space in between them. It's created a column that has the first name and the last name together with a space in between them. So assuming I remove this, I didn't put this space expression. I just left it like that, and I click on enter. It's still going to work, but there's not going to be any space. It's just going to add two of them together, and this is not what we want to do. So it's just going to add two of them together. So I want that my space option back. So I'm going to and quote quotes with a space in between. Put it with a space in between. I'm going to click enter. Yes, so it creates our space. So that's what I want to show you on this data set before I go to our data set we're going to be working on today. So the next thing is that where's my is it that I'm working on? Is this right? Yes. What is that? I know it's here. Yes. Yes. Okay, let me load my data. DAX open. Sorry, briefly, are we understanding what is happening, or is it sounding like is it feeling like French? Jumapel, Ikike, Jumapel, Nana. Is it seeming like French? Joma, Kelly, you haven't said anything since this class ended. Or is it feeling like French? Are you understanding? What are you following? I would like a reply. Ikike, do you understand what is going on?
I understand the concept.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand. I didn't join early, so the modeling part I didn't really get it for getting this part.
Hear you,
Okay, no
sir.
problem.
Continue, sir.
Okay, no problem. I'll probably get back to modeling part if there's time after this, but definitely we'll see now. So yes, this is the data set we're going to be using today, and I want to create this is let us have a few, let's put in our data. So this is a data set that shows order ID, product ID, unit price, quantity, and discount. Order ID, product ID, unit price, quantity, and discount. And we're going to be working on our data sets to use to create like calculated columns and measures and quick measures. Calculated columns, measures, and quick measures. So the first thing that I want to have a table or a calculated column that shows the product of unit price times um product no unit price times quantity. I want to show like total sales. Total sales obviously is the quantity you have times the unit price, or the quantity sold times the unit price. So I'm going to come and click on new column, and I'm going to pick on total sales. I'm going to like type total sales. That will be the name of our column, total sales. Then I want to say um unit price unit. So under my order table, unit price, asterisk quantity, quantity. Then I'm going to use close. I'm going to close it. I'm going to click on enter. So now, as you can see, Power BI has multiplied our unit price by our quantity and has created a table for it. That's multiplied our unit price and our quantity and has created a table for it. And as you can see here, it has shown here that there's a table now that's called unit price, or a calculated column, that is called unit price in our data set. So this is the first thing we're going to be doing. The next thing, I want to show you how to create a measure. I'm going to start from creating simple measures to creating like when we're talking about like bigger or harder measures per se. So now I'm going to come here, new measure, new measure. And first thing, I want to know number of transactions that happen in this company. Number of transactions that happen in like in my this space of time. So I'm going to say transactions. I'm going to name it transaction. I'm going to name the measure transaction. Transactions. So I'm going to come and use my function. I told you about functional operators. Functions are count, countif, sum x, while operators are equals to, plus, minus, asterisk. I'm going to come to sum and no count, count. Then I want to count order ID. Then I close my parentheses, and I click on enter. So you can see that there's no new column created. There's no new column created because measure is stored in the Power BI memory. It's stored in Power BI memory. So in case you want to come and now see what actually happened, now I can come and create a card visual. I create a card visual and I come and put measure here. So you can see that now that what we didn't create is now showing here as, so there were 2,155 transactions. There were 2,155 transactions that happened in this data set. So you can see on this our data table, it is not showing here. You cannot say anything like transaction. It's not showing number of transactions, but it's stored in the memory of Power BI as counts as transactions. So the memory of Power BI as transactions. So the next thing I want to do is that I want to do the same thing, total sales. I want to do total sales for using a measure. I want to create total sales. So, first of all, before I go to that, let me create another measure. I want to know the total quantity sold. I want to know the total quantity sold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new measure. I want to know how many goods were sold. And I want to sum to know the total quantity sold. I have to sum everything in this our quantity column. In this our quantity column, I have to sum everything. So I'm going to create a new measure. Create a new measure, and I'm going to name it total quantity sold. Total quantity sold. So I'm going to use count. I know sum, open brackets, quantity. I'm going to close my brackets. I click on enter. So now it has created a measure as total quantity sold, but we cannot see it as a calculated column here. It's only created in memory. So now I come to here and I come and create a card visual. I don't want a QRA, sir. Move, sir. I come and create a card visual and I put total quantity sold as in my field pane. So you can see that 51K is the amount of items that were sold all together. Like if 10 Coke, 10 Sprite, 10 Fanta, it got up to 51K. That's 51,000. 51,000. So we have been able to like use our measure to create do sum and do our count. So assuming now I want to do this same total sales I did using a calculated column, I want to do the same thing using a measure. So I'm going to come here and create new measure, and I'm going to change instead of using total sale, because we already have something named total sale. I'll name that total sale. Total sale. So now I'm going to use my sum functions, but I'm not going to use sum like sum. I'm going to use sum x. I'm not going to use sum. I'm going to use sum x. If I use some normal sum function, it will add every unit price, add all the quantity, then multiply both of them. It will add all the unit price and add all the quantity and multiply both of them. But that's not what I'm going to, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to multiply each unit price, like the first unit price, 18 times 10, 18 times 3, and when it's done, it adds all of them. That's what I'm looking for. That's what sum x is for. That's what sum x is for. So I'm going to use sum x. Then I'm going to open my brackets. The next thing is that it's going to ask me what table getting this thing for? What table do I want to get these things from? So I'm going to write orders table. That's the table I'm going to be getting what I'm going to be using for this expression for. Then I want to do um unit price, unit price, then asterisk quantity, QU order, yes, quantity. Then I'm going to close this. I'm going to close and I'm going to click on enter. So now Power BI has created a measure called total sales. That is total sales, but the short form. To see that it's the same thing as what we created before, I'm going to come here. I'm going to create another cash visual. I'm going to create another cash visual. Then I'm going to put this total sales. I'm going to put these total sales together and see what number it gives us. I'm going to create two cash visuals. 1, 2. I'm going to put them side by side. Then I'm going to bring on total sales and put here. I'm going to bring total sales. Put here. As you can see now, it's giving us the same thing. The total sales and total sales are giving us the same thing. 1.35 million. That's the amount of money this company made in this time range. The amount of money the company made in this time range. So assuming now I want to use sum instead of sum X and see the difference. Just use sum. And when I'm using sum, I don't need to put my the table I'm getting this from. Sure. Okay, let me so asterisk quantity. So quantity. Okay, let's do this. Close parenthesis. Then asterisk. I'm going to have to create two sum functions. I'm going to have to create two sum functions. I'm going to get some of order or unit price. Then I'm going to close it. I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to create another sum function, sum plus to asterisk sum of quantity. Sum of quantity. I'm going to close it and I'm going to click on enter. So now let's see what total sales is now telling us. You can see now it's different. It's different from our total sales. It's telling us that we sold 2.90 billion worth of this thing. So if you are relying on some function, it can put you in trouble because imagine when you actually sold 1.35 million, you are reporting that you sold 2.90 billion. There's a very huge discrepancy between 1.35 billion and 2.90 billion. So that's why you have to use your SUMX functions. You have to know the kind of functions you should use when creating your calculated columns and your calculated measures. So I'm going to quickly put this in back as I met it before. I'm going to use my sum x. Then I'm going to be taking my order table with an asterisk. Then I'm going to be using unit price. Then I'm going to get my asterisk and I'm going to get quantity. Then I'm going to close my parentheses. So enter and see if it has. Yes, it's back to 1.35 million. So now quickly, last thing we're going to be doing today is that we're going to teach you how to create a quick measure. Creating a quick measure. I'm going to click on new quick measure. That basically does not really need you putting a table like a formula. Just come to quick measure, like click on quick measure. Then let's say I want to create a sum. the sum or sum of all the quantity per se. So I'm going to come yeah, I'm looking for sum. We had a lot of things. Addition. Then I want to click let's say I want to add my other ID. No, I want to add my quantity. And okay, I also add my quantity and my unit price. Like I just want to tell you how like this thing works. The unit price there. Yes, unit price, quantity and unit price. Then I click on OK. So it has created a new quick measure, which is quantity plus unit price. I can always come and edit the name here. Like renaming is not a problem to for easier identification. But now I come here, as you know, measures always stores in memory. So I have to create a card visual file. I can use the card visual. Then I want to do quantity. I want to change this. Remove. Then I put this here. Quantity plus unit price 108K. Doesn't really add anything to our this thing, but I just want to try to tell you, like explain to you what quantity and unit price, like when you do some additions to it. So I am done with the class we have for today. I am done like teaching. This is like the basic. Like I said before, what this class is going to do for you is going to be giving you the basics of data and Power BI and data analytics. You are as a person, this is meant to whet your beaks and increase your yearning to go and learn more. Like now, you can always go online, search for data sets, search for um tax functions, try them out, see what they do. The sky is your limit. You can practice as much as possible. But this is just me. Just give it. Sorry. This is just me giving like an example of what you can do with DAX functions, what you can do with um DAX function basically, what I do with data modeling. So with this we are going to be coming to the question and answer sections. That's if there are any, or a conversation section, whatever works. We have about 6 minutes. Class ended early today. So we have about 6 minutes. So if you have a question, contribution, you want to teach us something, because after this class, okay, so as I said before, I was talking to Joyce that after this class now we're going to be learning SQL. After this class, we're going to be learning SQL, and I want us to learn SQL with like maybe next year, at least next year, I will meet some of my guys. Ikiki, I hope you are hearing back. Ikiki, we're going to be learning SQL next year. So I hope you know what that means.
I'm with you, sir.
I hope you are ready, sir.
I'm with you.
That you're laughing. It's not joke. It's not a joke. Oh. We're going to learn
I'm with
SQL, so let's
I'm
be
with
ready.
you, sir.
No problem, sir. So yes, we're going to be learning some other things next year. But right now, for today's class, we're going to be coming to the end. Questions. Joyce, do you have anything to say? Do you have a question? Nana, if you are still with us, do you have a question? Kelly, if you are still with us, do you have a question? And I would like feedbacks, please.
Yeah, please. I
I'm listening to you. Nana, I'm listening to you.